Welcome to Candid Conversations, our YouTube channel, Candid Conversations, zoomed in and comments channel. My name is Clip, and today we're going to talk travel, and we're going to be speaking with Jennifer Holmes. She is a very unique travel agent in that she does a very special kind of traveling with people, because what she does is she gets them not just to go and have fun and get pampered and get their nails done and all that good stuff, or hang out at the bar scene. But what she also does is something that basically can change your life. She actually incorporates volunteerism in travel. Here to explain that is Jennifer Holmes. Jennifer, welcome aboard. Thank you for taking the time out to chat with us.
Thank you, Cliff. It's nice to meet you and nice to be here today.
Excellent. So this is a unique thing that you're doing. You do specialized travel where you engage with people in other countries and you have the tourists come and do things in that country. What kinds of things do you actually start tourists doing in other countries? How does this work?
It can work as many different types of people as there are on the planet. That's kind of the opportunities that we have to design things. We can design things as much or as little as people want. We are starting an arm of the business called Impactful Experiences, which will be next year. So that'll be more of the guided trips. We're planning two for next year right now. One will be a Virgin Voyages cruise. We chose Virgin Voyages because they are a more sustainable cruise ship. They have done a lot of things to make sure that they're reducing their impact to the environment. And they also have already built in some impactful excursions. So one of the excursions we'll be doing will be in the Dominican Republic, where we'll go to a place where women from the community will teach us a reclaimed art project, and Virgin Voyages will make a donation on our behalf for the excursion as well. So we get to support the community. We get to be a part of the community and meet women from the community and help to support them as well. And then the other experience that we'll be doing, we're putting together, I'm waiting till we get the date firm on the first experience, and then I'll be putting together the package for the later part of the year, which will be 2 weeks in Thailand. 1 week you'll have your choice of volunteering for a wildlife reserve or an elephant reserve. And what they do is they take animals, the wildlife reserve is animals that are rescues, whatever. The elephant reserve, those elephants are coming from tourism and from logging. They're elephants that have been mistreated, and so they bring them into a place where they're taking care of them. They're making sure that they're taken care of well, and we get to go and help with that. So you'll have your choice between one of those two experiences, and then the other week we'll be sightseeing with a local tour company that will take us around, and we'll get to see the sights and learn more about Thailand from an in-depth, in-person, people from the community type of way.
I like the elephant one. That sounds interesting. If I had the money, I'd probably jump on that one because I've heard so much about elephants and the fact that they have been so badly treated by humans to do tricks and things like logging and stuff like that. And it is quite a shame. Excuse me. It is quite a shame that that's happened to them. So this is a kind of a nice way to engage with the public and show them that, hey, these are creatures, these are animals that aren't meant to do tricks for us. They're part of our planet. We should treat them in a better and more fairer manner. Is that the kind of thing you're trying to teach people? Is, hey, look, when you go into these societies and mix in with these people, they're not just here to entertain you. We want to educate you about the culture, about the people, and about the landscape and also the wildlife in that area. Is that the kind of thing that you're really trying to get to with this?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes, our mission is to connect hands and hearts with love globally through travel, right? And how you do that is by becoming part of the community. I mean, anybody can go somewhere and visit and be on the outside looking in, but this is more of, you get to actually experience the communities that you're visiting. You get to become a part of that community. You're becoming global citizens. And part of being a global citizen is is your responsibility to the earth, to the people of the location where you're traveling. You're not just a consumer. You get to be a part of it all. That's like one of the experiences that we can create for people is an African safari, but a little different, right? You're going behind the scenes. You're meeting with conservationists who will teach you about the animals that you're seeing and what you can do when you go back home that will make a difference. Your money when you travel that way is also directly funneling into the community rather than, you know, some of the big box things where it doesn't necessarily always get where you think it's going. So your
Right.
tourism dollars are having a better impact.
Yeah, it's not like you're just going there to Club Med, so to speak, and nothing against them. They're an excellent organization. But this is not a Club Med experience that you're going for here. This
But
is a
you can have both, right? Like, I mean, people can have both. You can go have the luxury experience. You don't have to go somewhere and build a house. You can go have a luxury vacation. Sandals has a foundation that they get a portion of your proceeds and you can donate directly to. So you can have that luxury vacation, but still have a positive impact on those communities. Sandals create schools for it's like their employees' children, and their employees can better themselves. And it's a really neat organization. And there are places that you can travel and ways that you can travel if you do the research that do have an impact, and you can still go and have a pleasant, relaxing vacation and know that you're doing something good for the environment and for the people of the community as well.
Do you engage with those kinds of companies as well, like to give that luxury experience, but also
Right.
uh,
Yes.
put the money back into that community and show the love, as you say, to that community?
Absolutely, I do. I'm a certified sandals certified sandals expert. I think there's different terms for each one. So I've got some destination specialties. I've got some supplier specialties. The two suppliers that there's a lot that they're really starting to really work on doing better things for the environment, for the communities. So I do look to partner with organizations that are having an impact. They're B corporations. They're making, they have a foundation, they have ways that they're giving back as well. And then the other way that we give back, so I have a lot of people that travel and just travel normal, but they know that they're giving back already because a portion of the planning fee goes directly to charity right off the top.
That is so unique and special. And I mean, we haven't seen that before. So I want to get to the question of what brought you to this place? I mean, this is a really unique thing. I've not come across this. I've never seen this. I've never heard of this. This is my first time hearing of such a thing. Is this something new, or is this, how long has this been going on?
So there are some like tour companies that I partner with that do this type of thing. But it isn't, I mean, people have been doing mission trips for years, but to have a travel agency that's focused on that is pretty rare. And I decided to start my agency because I was planning my own volunteer vacation to the Maldives. I'm going next year to do whale shark research with a program in the Maldives. And when I was doing that, I learned that there are different things that you have to be aware of if you're actually boots on the ground volunteering for somewhere. So in the Maldives, it's fairly easy. You just use a tourist visa. But some places, if you're volunteering, if you're actually working for volunteering, even if you're not making any money, you have to have a work visa. So there are different intricacies that you may not even be aware of that you need to look for, right? So I wanted to have that availability for people to have a place to go where they know they're getting the right information. They don't have to try and struggle to look for whatever it is that they need, that they know that the organization that they're working with is a legit organization, that it is really having a positive impact. Because there are things, I mean, not every organization that you volunteer with is actually doing good. So you have to look at that too. Um, it's a delicate balance, and that's where some of the educational and cultural things sometimes are the better option. Sometimes boots on the ground volunteering works, like the Maldives program that I'm volunteering with. They only hire from their country, so from the Maldives. They only hire local people, so they get people educated. They are helping them to build that, sustain that economy. So what they do is they take volunteers from the outside. Your money goes directly to that program to help create those jobs for the people in the community and ensure that they can continue.
That's a really excellent thing. I have to say, and I applaud you for this because that is so cool. And I'm assuming you do a lot of the research for some of the travelers that are going there to understand, hey, you need this type of passport or this kind of visa to go into places. Are there, and I have to ask this because we know because of what happened with Otto Warmbier, who went to North Korea, ended up dead. Are there no-go countries for you? Like, have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, I want to go to this country, and you go, I don't think that's a good idea. Has that ever
Well,
happened?
I mean, yes. So there's the U.S. government does a very good job of keeping people apprised of the countries that are safe, or sometimes it's not necessarily the country, right? Like you might have a country that crime and there's disruptions and governmental skirmishes over on one side of the country, but the other side of the country is safe. So knowing where to look to find out, what is the Department of State saying is safe right now, that's one thing. And then what are you hoping to accomplish? So, and it changes. There could be a war going on that you don't know about because we don't hear about all the little wars. People hear about the big things that happen and they think, oh, that's so terrible. They don't understand at any given time, there's 100 wars going on. And so, you have to, that's another thing is having someone in your corner that's making sure that you're going to a place that's safe. So yes, that is very important.
Yeah, I mean, even let's look at the Ukraine situation. Have
Mm-hmm.
you actually put volunteers in that country to help as part of the tourism, or is that kind of an off thing right now? Is that sort of on the back
Yeah.
burner for you guys?
So I wouldn't put someone in a situation like that. That is a personal decision. If they were going, they were 100% going, and they just wanted someone to help them book whatever they needed, I would help them with that. But that wouldn't be like, I'm not going to organize a group to go there. That would be something I might volunteer. Like I might go in if we were giving capacity in some of the organizations that I volunteer with. But that wouldn't be something that I would actually organize a trip for, just because that's a liability. I mean, that's something that, right. So personally, I might go. If someone wanted help going, I would help them with their travel arrangements, but I wouldn't advise anyone to go. I wouldn't, that's outside of the realm of what my responsibilities allow me to do as a travel advisor.
Right. Okay. So what is in your scope? What's in your wheelhouse that you can do? And if I may, how does this all start? What's the genesis, and where does it all end up at the end of at the tunnel as you go through? How does this start from A to B?
So there's a couple of ways. I have a newsletter that people can sign up for, and the opportunities that we'll be creating and people can sign up for and come on the journey with us, the peace cruise that we're doing and the volunteerism in Thailand. That will be in the newsletter. It'll also be on the website and on social media once we get those dates firmed up and everything in order. And then there's also the ability to just schedule a chat with me. And we'll talk about, I'll get to know you and get to talk about where you'd like to go, the types of things that are important to you. And then from there, we can start to create a plan, like what's a good location? What are the organizations there that you could help with that are in your wheelhouse. And then from, once we have that chat and start to work on dates and that kind of stuff, then we work on an agreement. There's an agreement to work with me. There's a planning fee. And like I said, then that planning fee, 20% of that goes directly to charity. And then I start to work on the trip. I start to put it all together. I get, if there's a couple organizations that fit what you look like you want to do, then I would send you those, and what the dates are, what the parameters are, what you could possibly do with them. And you would choose, what you wanted to fit in. If there were other tours that you wanted to do. So, you wanted to help with an animal shelter in Greece. And so we have you go to Athens, you work in an animal shelter, and then you go tour the Acropolis and maybe take a boat cruise out to Mykonos. We put all, like, that's my job. You tell me the pieces that you want, and then it's my job to put it all together, to put the puzzle pieces together where they fit, to find the tour operators that are local and engaging, and the organizations that you can volunteer with. And then you put the stamp of approval on, and I book it, and we send you on your merry way.
Now, do you often, like you send people on their merry way, as you put it, do you sometimes go on the same trip with those people?
I will be the two that we're doing next year. Yes, I will be going on those tours.
Mhm.
And I'm also going to look at putting it out there for when I'm doing the Maldives trip. So if anybody wants to hop on board and do that with me as well, they would be able to do that.
So what about inside the Americas itself, like here in Canada or in the United States? Do you do anything like that as well?
I absolutely do. And that's part of where I got the idea to build the company. It was my trip, but also a couple that I met while I was volunteering at Tampa Bay Watch. We were building oyster reef balls, which are, they help to keep the shoreline in place and keep that from eroding and help to filter the water.
Okay.
So we were building those. They were actually from Ohio, but they were in Tampa helping me and the community build the oyster reef balls. And they were on a Disney vacation. So they took a break out of their trip and they came over and built oyster reef balls with us. So absolutely, I can add a day of volunteering. If you want to go volunteer for the Boston Marathon, I'll help you get that all set up. We'll figure out your sightseeing while you're in Boston, get you all set up with the hotels, any travel needs you need. Absolutely, we can do that. And I do a lot of volunteering myself. So depending on where I am, I try to find organizations that I can volunteer with. Right now, I'm currently in Washington and volunteering with MAST, which is a part of the university, and it's a small little aquarium in. I think that's actually part of Des Moines, and it's on Redondo Beach anyway. And it's just a little community aquarium that is part of the university where they do research and that kind of stuff. So I do that. I volunteer personally in a lot of different organizations. And so that has helped to fuel this desire to make it available to others.
Wow, that sounds really cool. Have you ever partnered with groups like Homes for Humanity or anything like that? Have you ever done things like that?
I have personally, yes. And that would be something like, so if I had a group that wanted to do something like that, I absolutely can partner with any of those organizations, whether it's local or international, domestic or international. I have the ability to do that and reach out. So I actually I'm an independent contractor with my own agency and work under the umbrella of a host agency.
Okay.
And I chose the host agency that I did, which is Travel Resources Group, because it's a boutique host agency. So I can get things approved that maybe a larger host agency I wouldn't be able to do. So that has been really helpful to me as well, to be able to do the types of things that my travel requires without all of the bureaucracy of some of the larger host agencies.
Yeah. Now, of course, it all comes down to cost here with regard to any kind of travel. Generally, what are you looking at? What is a person looking at in the way of cost to do a trip like the ones you do?
So it really varies widely. The one in Thailand I believe for 1 week runs around between 400 and 500, maybe right around that $500 mark. The one I'm doing in the Maldives is significantly more, but again, it's a different level of involvement and a different level of, they rent their research vessel,
Mhm.
and so you're actually helping. Like I said, the money is going to that program. It's paying for your room and board while you're there, and then it's going to the program to help fund the program for the year. So
Mhm.
I believe that one is right around 2,500, 2,600. So it runs the gamut, right? Like it can be a smaller amount, it can be a larger amount. It just depends on what you're doing. If you're volunteering for the Boston Marathon and going on your Boston vacation, it's the price of the vacation. The volunteering doesn't cost anything. So in the US, it can be a little bit different. Whereas when you're going overseas, especially if they're providing room and board, you are going to be paying to volunteer there so that it helps to fund that program and it helps to create that economy for that community.
Okay, so generally speaking, you're talking anywhere from a couple hundred to maybe a couple thousand, depending on where you are going and what you're
Right.
doing. It's going to cost you that, and of course, then you have to also plan for it, make sure that you have all your paperwork so that you can get past
Right.
customs and the like. So
Oh, yeah.
it's really like a regular trip, but you're doing something extra to be sweet to the community, which is really truly awesome. Again, it's I have to say, I applaud you with regard to that. Now, people want to get in touch and start any kind of process or learn more. How do they go about getting in touch with you?
So my website is at www.joyous-journeys.com. Make sure you have the dash in there. That's what gets you to us.
Mhm.
I also am on LinkedIn and Facebook. Currently on Instagram. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that page. It's a lot of work to keep up.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you can find us on Facebook at Joyous-Journeys, and on LinkedIn, it's Jennifer Holmes. I have my page and then also the company page of Joyous Journeys.
Well, that's pretty cool. One of the other questions I would ask before we conclude here is, obviously you love doing this. That's just obviously your passion, and you got
Hmm.
involved when you were doing some volunteering. What's the biggest? Is it the animal thing, or is it something else? What's the biggest kind of trip that people like to take and
Oh,
do?
the biggest trip that people like to take, I think really like yes, to do with animals a lot, or children. There's so many different types. It's hard to really pinpoint one because there are so many people with different varied interests. People go over and help build wells. I mean, it's it's just really based on the person, so it's very personal. I will say that our motivation is that we want people, when they take a trip with us, to come home and do life differently, to look at the world differently. We want it to have an impact on the person, where that person comes back and it has those ripple effects out into the community, the people that they interact with, that it has that effect that just continues to spread.
That's amazing. So once again, how people want to get in touch with you, just to finalize that?
Yep. So at the website, www.joyousjourneys, joyous-journeys.com. And then they can email me directly at jennifer@joyous-journeys.com. Or you can call us at 813-384-8367.
Perfect. You know what? It's been a real blast chatting with you. I think this has been an interesting conversation. I've learned something new today. I never knew this was a thing until today, to be honest with you. And Jennifer, it has been a pleasure. I'll get this up on our YouTube page, which is, of course, Candid Conversation Zoomed In and Comments. You'll find us on YouTube. And once again, truly a pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.